Hello, Naveen. Hari Om.
Hari Om, Brother Shankara, Hari Om. How are you?
Quite well this evening, and you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Namaste, Brother Shankara.
Namaste, dear. Hari Om.
Namaste, Brother Shankara.
Hello, Haima.
How are you?
Hello, Haima.
Hello, Naveen and Prabha. How are you?
Good, good, good. Shamji, namaskar.
Namaskar, yeah. Namaste, Brother Shankara.
Namaste. Good to see your face. Good to hear your voice.
Thank you. सुरू झाले आता. सुरू झाला नाही.
Hello there, Shashi. Namaste, dear.
Namaste.
Okay, everybody.
Hi.
Hi.
So just for the few of you who are here early, I had a very cheerful discussion with my doctor this morning,
Oh, okay.
my cardiologist. He adjusted my meds back to lower dosages of Lasix and so on, and affirmed that I seemed to be doing quite well. So
That's good.
That's great. Good news.
Good to hear that.
yes,
Yes.
it was very good to hear that.
Great news.
His name is Dr. Utpal Pandya.
Oh.
He practices at Kaiser. He is also on the staff at Emory, and is a heart surgeon and heart specialist, of course. But I'm very, very fortunate to have him as my cardiologist. He really is very attentive, and he and I have become friends, actually. Yeah. He attends the why is the name gone out of my mind? Dr. Raghuji is associated with what organization?
Chinmaya, I think.
Say it again.
I think it's Chinmaya.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Pandya attends the Chinmayananda ashram or facility in the Northwest, not the one down close to us here, but up in the Northwest. So as usual, we'll wait just a couple of more minutes. It's 8 o'clock now. We'll wait until 8:02 just to see who joins us. Jyoti did something the other night that allowed me to see everybody who was here, but I don't know what she clicked on, so I can't tell which of these things at the bottom I should click on to show, so that it would show.
At the bottom, that participants.
Oh, is that the one to click on?
Yeah, it tells you how many people are there. It gives the number. 9.
Well, no, but she actually got it so that it was all on the screen at once. Everybody's little box was on the screen.
that is a grid. You on the top, there are like a 9 squares, small one, white.
Yeah.
You just click on that, so you will get the grid.
Up here in the corner? Oh, there it is. Yes. Okay. Very good. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know what it is that she had clicked on. All right. Oh, by the way, this coming Sunday, Dr. Bhagirath Majmudar is going to speak with us from his home about what it is that the medical professionals are experiencing. He'll give us a real good understanding so our compassion can be that much more informed about the medical professionals. And then he's also going to tie what's going on in his mind to Vedanta. And of course, that's always an interesting thing to hear from Bhagirath. So I think this Sunday morning will be good. All right, it is now 8:02. We will begin. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Mavidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace. Peace be unto us and to all beings everywhere. So we're studying the life of Holy Mother as told in Swami Chetanananda's book, Sri Sarada Devi, Her Divine Play. This is the period not too long after the Master's Mahasamadhi. And the family of Balaram Bose has undertaken to send Mother on a pilgrimage. Balaram Bose's wife is with her, Golapma, I don't remember, maybe Yoginma as well. Certainly Jogin, who became Swami Yogananda, is with her. And so this is a nice little group that is on its way to Vrindavan. The train stopped at Mathura. From there, the pilgrims went to Kalababu's Kunja or grove in Vrindavan. This estate belonged to Balaram's family. There was a gorgeous mansion with a Krishna shrine in the grove, which was situated on the bank of the Yamuna. Vrindavan is a holy place, the playground of Krishna's childhood, the Rasa Leelas. It's called the sweet Leela with the gopis and gopas, and of course, especially with Radha. The Holy Mother met Yoginma, the Holy Mother met Yoginma, who had left Calcutta shortly before the Master's passing away. On seeing her, Holy Mother's grief welled up and she embraced her, saying, "Oh, Yogin." Both wept profusely. At that time, Holy Mother wept often. One night, the Master appeared before her and said, "Why are you crying so much? Where have I gone? It is just a change from one room to another. Isn't that so?" Now, this is so important for us to recall. So important for us to recall. The Master is just in the next room. the subtle realm. He's abiding there in his subtle body. That's his promise. So when Vivekananda writes in the evening prayer, breaker of this world's chain, easy of access to us, that's what he means. That the master is, when we hold the master in our heart, when we call on his name, when we gaze on his picture, particularly when we do it with yearning and with commitment, devotion, we are with him. We may not be sensitive enough yet to experience it, but we can hold that as an article of faith, working faith, that we are in the presence of the master. So let me read that again, what he said. Why are you crying so much? Where have I gone? It is just a change from one room to another. Isn't that so? And of course, he's appealing to her inner knowledge herself, that she would know that that subtle realm existed. Over time, repeated visions of the master assuaged Holy Mother's intense grief. Now, of course, Vivekananda was also weeping. They had this little mat at Varanagore that had been established for them by the householder devotees. And Ramakrishnananda, Shashi, said that he would come. He was the one responsible for keeping care of the place. And he would say that he would come in the morning to take care of Vivekananda's bed. And he would find that his pillow was soaked with tears. So we can only, in our sweetest imagination, think what it must have been like to actually live with the master physically, this intense love so it shouldn't be any wonder to us that they grieved so. But in any case, repeated visions assuaged Holy Mother's intense grief. Ramakrishna had visited Vrindavan in 1868 and experienced visions relating to various episodes of Krishna's life. At Vrindavan, Holy Mother was often in the mood of Radha and experienced spiritual ecstasy. Now, what a thing for us to hold in our hearts. Holy Mother remembering her Rasa Leela there with Krishna in Vrindavan and going into that mood of Radha, which, if you remember, was very intense mood. She just would not endure separation from Krishna. So she was often in the mood of Radha and experienced spiritual ecstasy. Just as the gopis, the cowherd girls of Vrindavan, had searched for Krishna in the groves of Vrindavan, Holy Mother wandered alone to the bank of the Yamuna as if searching for her beloved Lord. Her companions would find her and bring her back to their residence. Later she said to a devotee, "I am Radha." Now, for those of us who hold Krishna dear, for those of us who hold the Rasa Leela and that wonderful episode, this is really something for us to hold in our hearts. I am Radha. Orthodox Vaishnavas circumambulate Vrindavan in bare feet and visit the spots connected with Krishna's life. Holy Mother and her party followed this tradition. It took them 13 days. Holy Mother closely observed the banks of the Yamuna, the groves, trees, temples, mendicants, and the scenic views of Vraja. From time to time, she stopped and could not go on. In other words, she was in such an ecstatic state, she literally could not walk. Yogin Ma guessed that Holy Mother was having divine visions. When she asked Holy Mother why she had stopped, Holy Mother kept quiet and only said, "Let us go." Swami Yogananda left a vivid account of Mother's stay in Vrindavan. We saw how Holy Mother, even in the midst of her intense grief at the passing Sometimes this just goes backwards, I'm sorry. At the passing away of the Master, fully realized his divine grace and presence at all times. We thought of ourselves as helpless orphans. This is Yogananda speaking. We thought of ourselves as helpless orphans because they too were missing the Master, feeling his intense feeling of his loss. But Holy Mother's love became our anchor. At Vrindavan, Holy Mother had many spiritual experiences. One day, her women companions found her absorbed in deep samadhi. They uttered the name of the Lord in her ears and tried to bring her mind down. I repeated the name of Sri Ramakrishna with all my strength. At that, the mother seemed to return to the ordinary sense plane. During such periods of ecstasy, her manner of speech, her voice, her way of taking food, her way of walking, and her general behavior were exactly like those of the Master. Now, if you remember, Sri Ramakrishna said of Mother, they were just one being in two forms. He repeated this a number of times and really underlined it. So this is how we're to understand what's happening here. She is actually embodying the Master and behaving as he did. We have heard that in deep meditation, the worshiper and the worshipped become one. The scriptures mention a spiritual state known as tadatmya bhava, being at one with God. We have read in the Bhagavata how the gopis, unable to bear separation from Krishna, became so deeply absorbed in the thought of him that for the moment they forgot their own individualities and behaved as though they were Krishna. In the same manner, Holy Mother too forgot her own separate existence and acted just like the Master, feeling her oneness with him. When I asked her some complex questions about spiritual matters shortly after her states of samadhi, she replied from a God-intoxicated mood, very much like Sri Ramakrishna, that is, in the same manner characteristic of the Master, even using his same easy style of expression with metaphors and parables. So Jogin, or Yogananda, was very smart to do this. He saw what was actually there, and so he was getting answers to his intense questions. We all were surprised to see the spirit of Sri Ramakrishna united with hers. It was unique. We then realized that the Master and the Mother were one in essence, though appearing in separate forms, which is exactly what Sri Ramakrishna said, of course. And it is not, and is it not said in the scriptures, Lord, thou art man, thou art woman? That's from the Svetasvatara Upanishad. Lord, thou art man, thou art woman. The Master told me many times that there was no difference between himself and Mother. On one occasion at Kalababu's grove, Holy Mother passed nearly 2 days. I'm sorry? Did someone say something? Okay. On one occasion in Kalababu's grove, Holy Mother passed nearly 2 days in a superconscious state. A great transformation came over Holy Mother after that experience. Henceforward, she was seen to remain always immersed in bliss. All her sorrow, grief, and feelings of separation from the Master vanished, and a serene, blissful mood took their place. 2 days in a superconscious state where she was actually experiencing this lack of separation, this oneness clearly. She sometimes behaved like a simple, innocent girl. Sometimes she expressed an eagerness to visit the various temples of Vrindavan for darshan, to see the deity, or to visit holy spots on the banks of the Yamuna associated with the divine sport of Krishna and the gopis. She was then in such a blissful state of mind that at times her yearning for Krishna's presence and her utterance of his name with intense love reminded us of Radha. Well, as Mother said, we just read it a few paragraphs back, I am Radha. I have heard from her women companions that the Mother at times spoke frankly of herself as Radha. She passed her time in constant meditation and japam, and often went into ecstasy, remaining forgetful of herself for hours together. In contrast to her many years of confinement in Dakshineshwar, Shamkapur, and Kashipur, Holy Mother moved freely around the temple like a happy girl. She took long walks with Lakshmi, Jogin being Swami Yogananda. Or maybe it's, no, Yoganma is spelled with a Y. So with Lakshmi, Yogin, who became Swami Yogananda, and Latu on the sandy banks of the Yamuna. She often went from one temple to another. I'm sorry, sometimes this just does the strangest things. I don't know, hold on. I'm getting back to where we were.
Shankara,
Yes.
are you using your mouse or?
Yes.
I found with the Kindle app on the Mac that the same thing was happening to me if I use the mouse. If you use the up, down, if you use the up, down keys on your keyboard,
Okay.
it doesn't happen, or it doesn't
Okay,
happen.
thank you.
Okay. You just kind of leave your finger right there for the up, down keys and
Okay, well,
go to the next page or back. It's just easier to do, I think.
Oh, it isn't working with my up-down keys.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. How about the side-to-side keys?
Nope, just makes that noise. Sorry.
Okay.
Brother,
Yes.
on the up and down keys, if there is a numeric pad which is numlock which is on, then it will make that sound if you use the mouse keys, the keyboard keys.
I'm sorry, say it again, Shailesh.
If you check if it has a numlock on it, NUM lock.
I'll check, but I don't ever remember seeing that. This part of the keyboard, since I got this new computer, doesn't seem to work. The keypad over here. No, there's,
I think Shailesh might be right. The num lock is probably on, and that's why it's not working. We'll look at it later. I guess just stick with the mouse for now.
okay. So I'll start at the top of this page again. Mother moved freely around the temple city like a happy girl. She took long walks with Lakshmi, Jogan, and Latu on the sandy banks of the Jamuna. She often went from one temple to another and attended worship or Vesper services. One day she saw a corpse decorated with flowers and garlands being carried to the cremation ground. Yoginma recalled, when she saw that funeral procession, Holy Mother remarked, "See how blessed this person is to die in holy Vrindavan. I came here to die, but I haven't had even a trace of fever. And yet how old I am." And of course she was still so young. And yet how old I am. I have seen my father and my husband's elder brother, both of whom died long ago. We laughed and said, "Indeed, you have seen your father. Tell us, who does not see one's father?" In those days, she talked like a child. One day, Holy Mother went to visit the Radha-Raman temple in Vrindavan, which is dedicated to Krishna. In a vision, she saw Nistarani Devi, a devotee of the master, fanning the Devi with a yak's tail. After returning to her residence, she said to Yoganma, "Yogan, Navagopal's wife is very pure. I saw her fanning the deity." Holy Mother later related the following incident concerning Golapma that occurred when they were in Vrindavan. Our Golap's mind is perfectly pure. In Madhavi's, Krishna's temple at Vrindavan, somebody's baby had soiled the floor. Everyone remarked about it, but no one made a move to clean up the spot. When Golap noticed this, she tore a strip from her fine cloth and cleaned the spot with it. The other women said, "Since she is cleaning it up, it must have been her baby." I said to myself, "Listen to what they are saying, O Madhavi." Often we find this gossipy aspect of human beings to be an annoyance to the holy. And so it's an instruction to us not to be gossipy that way, not to speculate, to remain, as we heard on Sunday, just see what is directly in front of you and don't cast your mind forward or back. Some others said, "No, these are holy women. They are doing it for the sake of others." Holy Mother recalled, in Vrindavan, Yogan and I used to repeat the mantra for long hours with great joy. Flies would sit on our eyes and lips and make sores, but we were not aware of it. Can you imagine being that absorbed? Flies would be on their eyes and lips and make sores, but we were not aware of it. One day I prayed to Radha Raman, "Lord, please take away my fault-finding nature. May I never see other people's blemishes." On another occasion, the mother said, "Formerly I too." Now this of course directly relates to this incident where people were criticizing Golap Ma be saying it was probably her baby, that's why, and so on. On another occasion, the mother said, "Formerly, I too used to notice others' faults. Then I prayed to the master, and through his grace, I got rid of this habit." So what's the instruction to us? We don't just have to depend. We have this resource, this spiritual treasure of the master that is a gift to us as well. If we wish to manifest something or renounce something, in this case, mother wishes to renounce noticing the faults of others. We pray to the divine. Now, Vivekananda said, remember, he really emphasized this. Remember, you're not talking to something outside yourself. You're talking to something inside yourself. It's all there. It's all already there. So when you ask for, in prayer, with this kind of petitionary prayer, the power doesn't come from outside. The power comes from inside. And it really is beneficial to us to manifest that power, that spiritual treasure that the master left within each of us. Every human being, it's there in every human being. It just doesn't get the opportunity to be manifested in so many people. But for each of us who know this secret and know this promise, this is the source of strength and power and the ability to overcome what we want to overcome, and the ability to manifest what we want to manifest. Then I prayed to the master, and through his grace got rid of this habit. It is human nature to see defects. You should learn to appreciate virtues. Man is no doubt liable to err, but you must not take notice. If you constantly find fault with others, you will see fault alone. And if we recall, this was Mother's final instruction to us. If you want peace of mind, my dears, do not find fault with others. Look to your own faults. At Ramakrishna's command, Holy Mother began her spiritual ministry there in Vrindavan. One day the master appeared and asked her to initiate yogin. Oh, that's right. He had not been initiated by the master, though he was the master's disciple. One day the master appeared and asked her to initiate yogin. She was a little perplexed and embarrassed. She thought, what is this? What will people think? Everyone will comment that Mother has started to make disciples. She ignored the vision, considering it to be a product of her imagination. But the master appeared again over the next 2 days. On the third day, the master said, I have not initiated him. You must initiate him. He even told her the mantra to give. Holy Mother protested, I do not even speak to Yogin. How can I initiate him? Well, that wasn't quite true. She did speak to Yogin, but she meant she wasn't familiar with him. They didn't speak familiarly. I do not even speak to Yogin. How can I initiate him? The master asked her to speak to him. The master asked her to speak to him through Jogin Ma. Jogin Ma learned from Jogin that the master had not given him a mantra. The master had also appeared to Jogin and asked him to receive a mantra from Holy Mother, but he could not bring himself to approach her. When Holy Mother realized that the master had instructed both of them in this manner, she decided to give initiation to Jogin. And then that qualified him to become Swami Yogananda. Yogin Ma recalled the initiation. Holy Holy Mother performed worship in front of the picture, and Holy Mother performed worship in front of the picture and the casket that contained the mother's relics. By casket is meant this little metal box that the mother carried that has his picture and his relics and so on. It was a little metal trunk. That's what she means by casket. We think of casket as a coffin, but that isn't the way she spoke. Holy Mother performed worship in front of the picture and the casket that contained the master's relics. Afterwards, she called Jogan and asked him to sit near her. While performing the worship, Holy Mother went into ecstasy, and in that state, she gave initiation. She repeated the mantra so loudly that I heard her from the adjacent room. Thus, Jogan became Holy Mother's first disciple. This was the beginning of a new chapter in her life. Until very recently, there were, I don't think there are still any alive, but until just very recently, there were people alive who were Holy Mother's disciples. She lived until 1920. And so there were people alive until quite recently that were her disciples. Swami Sarvadevananda interviewed a woman in Vrindavan who had been Mother's disciple. And there were a couple of people living on Long Island in New York that were Mother's disciples until not so long ago. Holy Mother loved the disciples of the Master as her own children. At Vrindavan, there were no fixed times for Latu's meals. There were no fixed times for Latu's meals. He would come at odd hours to Holy Mother or her companions and ask for something to eat. Latu was always very fluid in this way. If you read Swami Sarvadevananda's new book, which is a translation from Bengali of Latu Maharaj's teachings, they were transcribed at the time by his sevak, by his attendant. And the attendant also mentions the lack of regularity in Latu's life. He was not regular in his habits and didn't think anything of it at all. He didn't think that there was anything wrong with the way he behaved at all. So he would come at odd hours to Holy Mother or her companions and ask for something to eat. Moreover, he would sometimes share his food with the monkeys, which annoyed the ladies. So like Latu, he was so simple-hearted. He just simple-hearted. I'm sure that in his mind, he did not see a distinction between himself and the monkeys, which is why he shared the food with them. But Holy Mother knew his childlike nature and asked Lakshmi and Golapma not to scold him. She herself served him. This was so characteristic of her. She just would serve everyone. She herself served to him. She asked her companions to keep Latu's meals well covered in a certain place so that he might come at any time and take his meals when he liked. Once he vanished for 3 days, and Holy Mother was terribly anxious. Then suddenly he reappeared. When Holy Mother asked him where he had been, he smiled and said, "On the bank of the Yamuna." Then, like a child, he said to Holy Mother, "I am extremely hungry. Please give me something to eat." She immediately brought some food. He ate it and again disappeared. Holy Mother remarked, "Latu is strange indeed." And the Master had also remarked on that Latu was. And if you read that book, and I encourage you to get that book, it's called Eternal Words. You can buy it we don't yet have it here in the bookshop, but you're not coming here anyway. You can get it from Vedanta.com, Vedanta.com. Latu is strange indeed. Latu recalled, while staying at Vrindavan, Holy Mother, excuse me, Latu recalled, while staying at Vrindavan, Holy Mother would worship the picture of the Master with flowers and other items. She carried with her a tiny round casket containing a bit of the Master's relics. And that's the first time I've heard it described as round. That must be accurate. After worshiping his photograph, she used to touch this casket to her forehead and then with great reverence put it back in its place. In other words, back in this little trunk. One day she touched it, the casket, to our heads also. Holy Mother was very fond of hearing kirtan. If you remember, the Master also had been very fond of that. Accompanied by Lakshmi and me, she would now and then go to Bhagavanji's ashrama, Bhagavanji's and Bhagavan being Krishna, Bhagavanji's ashrama to hear the devotional songs to Krishna. After a month at Vrindavan, Nikhil, oh, I just can't see this darn screen. Nikhil, can someone say that name for me? What is that name? It's Balaram Bose's wife's name.
Nikunja.
Nikunja, thank you, Balakrishna. After a month at Vrindavan, Nikunja Devi contracted malaria. So Holy Mother sent her back to Kolkata with Kali. Kali later became Swami Chetanananda. In February 1887, now this is about 7-8 months after the Master's passing away. In February 1887, Holy Mother heard that Ram Datta's daughter had died in a fire, so she sent Latu to him. Latu had previously worked for him. As a matter of fact, he was working for Ram Datta when he first heard about the Master from Ram and went over to Dakshineshwar and went back to Ram Datta and said, I want to go live with him. And that's what happened. During her stay in Vrindavan, Holy Mother learned that the Dakshineshwar temple authorities had discontinued her pension of 7 rupees per month. She remarked, "They have stopped my pension. It's all right. Such a golden master is gone. What would I do with the money?" You know, this was the Master and Holy Mother both. They were just so simple about money. When in later years, people would come to Mother and as time went on, because there's so many people did come to her, she would receive a great deal of money. And she would just take the money, touch it to her forehead and the top of her head, and then give it to her attendant and simply say, put it in the box. She wouldn't look at it or count it or in any way acknowledge it beyond that. Toward the end of their stay in Vrindavan, Holy Mother, Lakshmi, Yogin Ma, Golap Ma, and Yogin went to Hardwar, where the Ganges descends from a high glacier in the Himalayas and enters the plains of India. In the train on the way, Jogin was suddenly stricken with a high fever. While he was unconscious, a terrible form of deity appeared before him and said, "I would have put an end to your life, but I am helpless. On the order of your guru, Paramahamsa Deva, I am leaving you. However, you must offer some rasagolas." This is the experience that Jogin had. This terrible form of a deity said, "I would have put an end to your life, but I am helpless. On the order of your guru, Paramahamsa Deva, I am leaving you. However, you must offer some rasagolas, juicy cheese balls, to this woman." The figure pointed to a goddess wearing a red sari. The next morning, Jogin's fever subsided. The pilgrims stayed for a few days at Hardwar, where many mendicants practiced austerities. Holy Mother bathed in the Brahma Kunda and consigned some of the master's hair and nail clippings to the sacred river. She visited all the important holy temples, then climbed to the top of the Chandi hill where she worshipped the Divine Mother. After that, the party went to Jaipur in Rajasthan to visit the famous Govinda temple. While visiting the temples, Jogin saw a goddess with a red sari, whom he recognized as the same deity he had seen during his fever. She was Shitala, the goddess of disease. Jogin bought a half rupee worth of rasagolas, which would have been quite a lot of rasagolas at that time. A half rupee would have been quite a bit of money. A half rupee worth of rasagolas from a nearby shop and offered them to the goddess. I think it's just good for us just to hold in our hearts this healing and the fact that there was something to be done and that Jogin did it to the letter just as requested. This kind of intentionality and precision means a lot for us. It isn't dogma. It isn't like bad things will happen if you don't do it. That's not the point. Something happens within you when you do it that way, with this kind of integrity and precision and intentionality. From Jaipur, the party visited the Brahma temple. I think, if I'm not mistaken, there are not many Brahma temples, maybe just this one. There are not very many temples to Brahma. There are many to Vishnu and Shiva, but not to Brahma. From Jaipur, the party visited the Brahma temple in Pushkar, an ancient holy place.
There's only one.
There's only one
in Pushkar, yeah.
A holy place in Western India. Pilgrims bathe in Pushkar Lake, which is surrounded by hills on three sides. One of the hills is named after Savitri, the wife of Brahma. Now, if you remember, in the Chandi, in the opening of the Chandi, when Brahma is addressing his mother, he says that the mother is Savitri. One of the hills is named after Savitri, the wife of Brahma. Holy Mother climbed up the 7,500-foot hill, 750-foot hill, I guess, up that 750-foot hill, not 7,500, up that 750-foot hill to worship Mother Savitri. Afterwards, she and her party returned to Vrindavan. So they made this excursion over to Jaipur and these other places, and then this Brahma temple. Ordinary people torment themselves with grief when their dearest ones depart from this world, but the wise know that after union comes separation, and after life, death. And of course, if we remember Sri Krishna's instructions to Arjuna in chapter 2, this is almost like a quote from that. He just said, don't fret about it. Life comes, death comes. You shed a body like a worn out garment, and you take a new one, if that's the appropriate thing to do. The wise know that after union comes separation, and after life, death. Of course, in the beginning, Holy Mother felt grief like other human beings, but she quickly got hold of her emotions and anchored her life to the eternal Godhead. As we know, she had quite a bit of help. There were these numbers of visions that she had of the Master, and him telling her, look, I'm just in the next room. Why is that important? Because we can remember these things as well. Even though we may not have these visions, we may not yet be sensitive enough to have these visions. We can remember these things and hold them as that working faith. Working faith. They become Shraddha, they become the deeper kind of solid, immovable faith after some experiences. But nevertheless, we can hold these things in our hearts and in our minds when we experience the vicissitudes of life. We can remember Mother's experiences, we can remember what Krishna said, and so on. Yet she, Holy Mother, Holy Mother badly needed this year-long pilgrimage and period of sadhana, which relieved her grief to a great extent. Repeated visions and directions from the Master also reassured her, and she slowly began to fulfill her mission. As we remember, the Master had told her, now I'm turning the work over to you. And so with her initiation of Jogin, and there in Vrindavan, that's what it means by she slowly began to fulfill her mission. Finally, Holy Mother decided to return to Calcutta. On the way, she and her companions stopped at Prayag in Allahabad, the confluence of the Ganges and the Jamuna rivers. The confluence of the Ganges and the Jamuna rivers. She bathed in the holy confluence and offered some of Ramakrishna's hair that she had been carrying with her. She later described the incident. Is the Master's hair a mere trifle? After his passing away, I carried his hair to Prayag to offer it at the confluence of the sacred rivers. The water was still. As I held the hair in my hand, suddenly a wave arose and carried it away. The spot, already sacred, took the hair from my hand in order to increase its sanctity. The party returned to Calcutta in August 1887. Now, can we think that Mother would say such a thing if she didn't know it? It isn't a question of belief. Those who speak about these things from knowledge say that rivers are alive, they're living things. Water is alive. So when she says As I held the hair in my hand, suddenly a wave rose. The water had been still. As I held the hair in my hand, suddenly a wave rose and carried it away. The spot already sacred took the hair from my hand in order to increase its sanctity. The party returned to Calcutta in August 1887, so a year after the master's passing. So we'll stop the reading there, and please, anything that you'd like to offer in the way of comments, questions. This is that wonderful time when we fulfill what's meant by studied together the art of spirituality. So anything from anyone?
Actually, when Sri Ramakrishna was there was Latu Maharaj and somebody else, and the discussion came about Ganga, and they did not believe Ganga as a holy river.
Mm-hmm.
And Sri Ramakrishna showed them how Bhagirath brought the Ganga. And since then, Latu Maharaj started worshipping Ganga.
Mm-hmm. Who was it that brought the Ganga? What was it? What was the word?
No, the vision was Bhagirath. Bhagirath is the in the Puranic story, the one who brought Ganga from heavens to
I see. All right, thank you. And so then Latu began to worship the Ganga. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
And he did that for the rest of his life. That appears in that book, Eternal Words. Those his teachings. Thank you, Balakrishna. Anybody else? Anything?
Brother Shankara?
Yes, Haima.
I was really touched by what she said, her powerful statement. If you want peace, do not find fault with others, find your own. It's very, very powerful. It's very true.
Yes.
That's very true. That's the only way we can find peace. That she's 100% right.
It relates directly to the teachings in Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. Yes. About not having an adversarial relationship with the world.
Yes.
This is the yamas.
Mm-hmm.
The yamas are what coach us in not having an adversarial relationship with the world.
Yes.
Then the niyamas say if you manage to begin to curb your adversarial relationship with the world, one of which is finding fault with others. One way of being adversarial is to find fault with others. What do you replace it with? Then the niyamas are there. So together you practice the yamas and niyamas so that you replace the lower forms of behavior that are adversarial with these higher forms of behavior that are selfless and world embracing rather than universe embracing.
That's true. Thank you.
Thank you for bringing that up, Haima. That's absolutely true. It is very touching.
Very much.
Anyone else? Anything? All right, then if no one else is going to say something, I'll just read a footnote that is from this chapter which we just read. As per Shiva Mahapurana, once Brahma, the Hindu god of creation, and Vishnu, the Hindu god of preservation. So Brahma, the creator, and Vishnu, the god of preservation, had an argument in terms of supremacy of creation. To test them, Shiva pierced the three worlds as a huge, endless pillar of light, the Jyoti Linga. Vishnu and Brahma went separately, downwards and upwards, respectively, to find the end of the light in either direction. Brahma lied that he found the end. Now, isn't this interesting that we find that even the gods can misrepresent things? Brahma lied that he found the end, while Vishnu conceded his defeat. Shiva appeared as a second pillar of light and cursed Brahma that he would have no offerings in ceremonies, while Vishnu would be worshipped till the end of eternity. Perhaps that explains why there's only that one temple. The Jyoti Linga is the supreme undivided reality out of which Shiva appears in part. There's this, well, let's see how we do it. Let's see. There's a okay. So the next chapter we'll find it very touching. It's chapter 11, Ordeals in Kamarpukur. And I tell you, this is where we really get a glimpse of what it means to be a divine being incarnated in a human body. Mother says that when a divine being takes human form, they're spared nothing. They're spared every temptation and tribulation that can come will come. And you know, at the time, even at the time that Mother took this pilgrimage to Vrindavan, she already had rheumatism in her knees, even though she was still quite young, because of sleeping on that cold stone floor in the Nahabat all those years. Cold and sometimes wet. So she already had rheumatism in her knees from that. And so that's why it was remarkable that she climbed a 750-foot hill, because walking was not easy for her, and climbing and things like that. She was not strong, physically strong. So one last invitation. Anything from anyone? Comment, question, appreciation of what has been read, or anything like Haima did?
I namaste everybody. I have a thought which about the incident where and a question, the incident where the terrible form appeared to Joged Maharaj.
Mm-hmm.
And threatened to kill him, but to take him away. But he said, your guru has ordered me. I'm curious why someone so young like him, he must have been probably 25, 26 at that time, that the death appeared to him, because he was doing what one is supposed to do in a human birth, do spiritual practices and evolve. And though he is considered to be Arjuna, that's what as far as I know. And then I'm just curious that why death would appear. What kind of
it was
behind it? Because he did pass away much early. He did pass away in Varanasi.
Yes, he did pass away early. He
was 35 or 36 when he passed. And he did not contribute much in the sense, I don't want to say that's very strong words, but to the Ramakrishna movement in that sense. He kind of was aloof. Though he was a Siddha, So I'm just curious, what was the, anybody's thoughts, Brother Shankara, anybody else?
Well, clearly it was his karma to die at this early age. Otherwise, this god of death would not have appeared to him. But Sri Ramakrishna prevented it, and so then, as you pointed out, he did die early. But you say he didn't contribute much. Well, I'm not going to disagree with you, but I'm just going to point this out. He became Mother's most trusted attendant for many years after this. And when he left the body, she said, "Oh, my yogin, where has he gone? Who will ever take care of me now?" So he looked after Mother. When it became, as we'll learn, when it became apparent what was happening to her at Kamarpukur, he came forward and helped her move to Jairambati and looked after her. He was very, very attentive. And so there was a period then after he left before Swami Saradananda took up her care, where again she was somewhat at 7s and 6s. So who knows what his karmic situation was that caused that? But that's the only thing we can look to, is somehow he didn't. We think of death as a bad thing, but no, in a sense, he didn't have to stay long. And there were other incidents of the master's disciples. Girish Ghosh was sick unto death when he was in his 20s. And it was Mother, Holy Mother, who came to him and saved his life. He found this out when he visited her in Jairambati. Girish, had only seen Mother veiled in Kolkata. He had never seen her without her veil. When he went to Jairambati and saw her without her veil, he was absolutely astounded. He said, it's you, the one who came and saved my life when I was sick unto death, when I was young." And she just laughed. She affirmed it. So a number of the master's disciples had some karma that would have taken them away had it not been for the direct intervention of the master and Mother.
I think I read that Yogin was opposed to Swami Vivekananda's ideas, of setting up ashram of this Ramakrishna Matha and all that. And Swami went into meditation, and finally when he came out of the meditation, it seems Yogin was convinced, and he then allowed them to go. Something like that I read, if I remember right.
Thank you, Shama. Now that you remind me, I vaguely remember something of the same.
Yeah.
I think, Brother Shankara, you answered my question that why he's lived so short, because now I if you connect the dots, he was very close to Mother. He was her first disciple, and he took care of her when everybody was away. Mm-hmm. And when everybody started coming, his part was done in the divine place, so he just left.
Yeah, so he got his ticket out.
Yeah.
But isn't he one of the ones who's an ever-free soul? I think I remember that.
He was
Arjun. He was Arjun, I think.
Yeah, that's what.
Yeah, so I think he was one of the ones that the master identified as an ever-free soul. So anything else? That was good. Thanks for that. It started a nice discussion. Okay, well, we'll wind it up there then. And next time, ordeals in Kamarpukur. Oh, and this will bring you to tears. Oh. Om Asato Ma Satgamaya. Tamaso Ma Jyotirgamaya. Mrityorma Amritangamaya. Abirabirmoiti. O dearly beloved, lead us from thy lesser truth to thy highest truth. Lead us from darkness and ignorance to the brilliance of thy wisdom and love. Lead us from death to immortality. Light us through and through, light us through and through with thy everlasting shining presence. Om Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. So, everyone, thanks for coming to this class. This is a joyous class studying the life of the mother.
Thank you, Brother Shankara.
It's interesting how much larger these classes are online than they ever were here in the actual library. It's lovely that people can, come virtually this way. We are gathered together. It feels that. It definitely it feels that way.
Mm-hmm.
So here we are gathered together, and no need to get in the car and go through the dark and go home in the darkness and risk your life on the highways.
Yeah,
It's so lovely.
it's been very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, Haima.
Thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night. Thank you, Brother Shankara.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. So I'm going to have to find a way to, maybe I have to get another keyboard or something that'll help me with this pagination so that I don't get lost like I did for about 3 or 4 minutes trying to find what the page was. There's bound to be a way to do it. I'll sort it out so we don't have that in the future. Good night, Balakrishna.
Good night.
Good
Om
night.
Hari Om.
Hari Om, Brother
Good
Shankara.
night, Amit. Good night, Catherine. Who is that?
Good night.
Oh, that's Neera.
Yeah. Good night. Good night, Brother Shankara.
Good night, Haima. Good night, Naveen and Swayam.
Hari Om.
Good night, Cindy.
Good night. Night, everybody.
All right, here we go. End meeting, it says.